I'm super excited about this fight. This is an exciting fight. I mean, Sean Strickland has been shown, I mean, with his crazy behavior and his crazy antics, he's been, he's super fun to watch inside and outside of the cage. Inside that cage, he has that style where he talks smack and he walks his opponents down very beautifully. But if you really notice, people think that he just has like, kind of like, as if, I feel like people think that he's just this crazy guy who gets beat up. If you actually look at it, he's very good at staying out of range, and he counters a lot. I mean, if you look at the fight against Jack Marshman, even though it looks like they're swinging wildly, Jack Marshman has a bunch of damage on his face, and Sean Strickland is clean as if he got out of the shower. So Sean is very good at utilizing his range and walking people down. Very great striker. I mean, the guy has a ton of experience. I don't know if anyone's read his Wikipedia, but fortunately, he grew up in an abusive household, and his father abused him mentally and physically. So he got kicked out of every school that he attended. Then he started training MMA at 14, turned professional at 16. If you guys know, he was doing pretty well, except he did have losses to Kamaru Usman by decision, and he got knocked out by Ilescu dos Santos. And that's when he decided to move up to 185. He realized he was cutting too much weight. Even though he's not the biggest 185er, you'll see Jack Hermansson's a lot more jacked. He also had that big motorcycle accident, and I think that maybe that made him a better fighter almost, because he came back and just is really good. Has been really good. I mean, he had that really nice win against to start. Well, I don't want to say to start off, but it was a really nice win against Brendan Allen. Although now you look at it, Brendan Allen does appear to be a little bit chinny. Also, I don't want to say chinny, but he doesn't protect himself as much. And then his teammate Chris Curtis later on, ended up knocking him out. It's funny, Brendan Allen, he's been a giant. He keeps being this giant favorite. I actually made money on Chris Curtis against Brendan Allen, and I was really excited when that hit. I probably should have bet by knockout to get even more odds, but I mean, honestly, I think I got him at like plus 300, plus 400. It was pretty ridiculous. So I think Sean Strickland is a bona fide title contender. I think Jack Hermansson is really damn good, and I thought that he could be a possible champion, but then when he got knocked out by what's the gentleman's name? He fought not Uriah Hall. Sean Strickland actually beat Uriah Hall. He got knocked out by Jared Cannonier. I almost forgot Jared Cannonier. But Jared Cannonier has dynamite in his hands. But it just showed you that when people are able to get off the floor with Jack Hermansson, he can be kind of vulnerable. He doesn't have the best striking. He has that weird kind of European style. I do like Jack a lot, and he had that nice leg lock. I actually had money on him against Kelvin Gastelum, but I had him by decision, which was stupid. And of course, he ends up submitting Kelvin in the first round. But he obviously is a dangerous grappler. People are throwing shade at him because Khamzat kind of dominated in the wrestling. I mean, Khamzat is a really damn good fighter and an amazing prospect. So I don't think that's, people shouldn't throw shade at Jack. I think Jack's a really solid opponent, and he does have the physical advantage. So it could get a little dicey. If Jack can get on top of Sean Strickland, especially in the early round, it can get very dicey for Sean. But I think that Sean, with his experience and using his footwork, and I think he's going to be able to avoid the takedown, or at least punish Jack for trying. I mean, we'll see what happens. It's interesting because, I would say, it's hard to pick. I like Sean to win the fight, although, he is minus 220. So I don't know, maybe it should be a little bit closer. But, by picking a manner of victory, this is the problem with that. So I would say it's more likely like a later finish, because I think that Sean keeps punishing him. Although, Uriah was able to survive the whole time, but Uriah is a really good striker, a tough chin. So I would say maybe it's worth, grabbing Sean by knockout. Because, but the other thing is he can easily win by decision because Jack's really tough. I mean, he had a war with, I think it was with Shabazian, but again, Shabazian hasn't been looking so great as of lately. He did go to AKA, so I think that might have been after that loss. And then Shabazian had another loss against Cyril Gan's training partner. His nickname is like the Russian Sniper. Dagestani guy out of France. I forgot what his name is, but he's really good. He actually had a loss to Phil Hawes, but I'm really high on him. I think that unfortunately Shabazian's been thrown to the wolves, but that's neither here nor there. Going back to that fight, I think it's I think that it may I think there's two ways to play it. I think Jack by either by submission or Sean by knockout. That's a possible play. You could probably get really good odds. I mean, if Jack's plus 180 by submission, he'd probably be pretty high up there. Or, I think it might just be worth grabbing Sean by knockout. And I think that Sean would be the fresher guy because he's smaller. I mean, it's going to be the danger zone early on with the rounds. If he can stop the takedowns and not get submitted early on, I think he just walks down Jack. Unless Jack's able to have like a kind of game plan that he did against Jacare, where he kind of just held him down and goes for submissions. I mean, we'll see. This will be a real test of Sean's takedown defense. I mean, I know Brandon Allen, tried to take him down. So Sean, has that experience. And again, he's been fighting since he was 16. He fought Kamaru Usman. So I think that he's going to be able to stuff Jack's takedowns. And again, you could take something away from it that, Khamzat was able to pretty much stuff Jack's takedowns pretty easily. But again, Khamzat is a beast. But I do think that Sean's, I think the play is either Sean by knockout or just Sean money line, minus 220. Perhaps maybe, parlay him with Shavkat. But I'll talk about that fight later on. And yeah, we'll see. I think Sean a couple more wins and he could be right in that title picture. He has a fun fight and he's a crazy guy. And I think he's really damn good. And but we're going to find out. It's interesting. These past few events, you've seen the underdogs really show up, kind of like the Y'all Must Have Forgot moments, like with Calvin Kattar. Like, Giga's like, it's almost, a lot of these fights share similarities. Like when Giga fought Calvin, it's almost like Giga's like the new kid on the block. Sean's been around for a while, but like, Giga's finishing all these guys. And people kind of forgot about Calvin Kattar because he got abused by Max Holloway. I mean, this is, I think it's a little different. So Jack's been kind of 50-50s in the last few fights. But in the end, again, I do think, your best bet is Sean by knockout or B, and I think Sean's looking to make a statement to get it to title, or Sean by knockout and maybe try to do a hedge by doing, Jack by sub. The only dangerous part is if Sean wins by decision. I mean, I doubt Jack could win by decision unless he holds him down the whole time, but we'll see. Anything's possible in MMA. But I think that's really the play, or possibly parlaying him with Shavkat. So, yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you so much. I do appreciate all the support. Please like and subscribe. Thanks.